This is Artz Note. Today we would like to discuss a little bit different than the others. Let's talk about the plastic model. And in our case, this is the Gunpla. They call it the mobile suit Gundam. It's a Japanese robot model. And I'm not sponsored or anything by that. I'm just a fan now. And this is from the latest series called the Iron Blooded Orphan. But it's pretty fun series. I mean, the content itself is a little bit deep, and but it's still fun to watch. And I'm decided to make a quick introduction about building this model just to show some support. And first of all, this model needs some tools to begin with. I will introduce them now. The first one will be the modeling paper. So it's a smaller size and it got a pretty sharp tip. You can see it right here. And you might try to find which end is got a nice hold. Yeah, I just feel comfortable because you have to do this motion a lot. I mean, so just just pick one that fits your hand the most. And the second tool will be an Artz knife, or this one, the OLFA knife. I picked this one because it got the narrower blade, which give me some kind of tight turn or doing the smoothing. I will explain that later, but personally I prefer the OLFA rather than the usual Artz knife. The third tool is optional. It is sandpaper. But for our first step, we might not need the sandpaper, but you probably will in the later stage. And I'll explain how to use that properly. Let's go on to our component part. This is the instruction manual. Give you the guideline, and it shows you which parts specifically, just like a Lego manual. And just follow the direction, and you can complete the pretty decent, I'll say, Gunpla, which means Gundam plastic model. However, despite they already do the coloring for you, you can see they did a pretty nice job for you already, and they labeled properly. There's still the texture of it looks kind of plastic-ish, which means it feels like a toy rather than an aircraft. So what I would do is we repaint it, even though they already have color on it, but we just put on a coat of primer and get rid of all the joint, the cracks in between, because you can see like this sword got two pieces, and we might want to erase the gap in between. So we'll see later on. But yeah, if you just want to save some trouble and just want to play with it, I would just recommend you just cut it down and assemble it just as the guideline, and probably put some ink in the dipping area. But yeah, that will be a pretty decent model. But if you really want to show like probably the side of it, let me see, oh, probably not this one, but yeah, you want to show like really cool like model contests and stuff, they will usually always, not usually, they will always do their own painting. Okay, so let's begin with how to take off the pieces properly. First of all, we follow the instruction. You can see right here, the 18, right? So this one is 8, yeah, right. What I would recommend you is to use the nipper, not directly cut along the piece, but just leave some space in between, like this. What the reason of this is, you don't want to, every time we use this, it will move a little bit and eat up a little from both sides. So if you just leaning against the piece you wanted, and it will chew up and make a hole in it, you might try to avoid that. And the instruction book also says that, but yeah, it's better to see it in person. And the extra parts, we start using our exo blade, and please be very careful at this stage, because this is a relatively small component, because the size of this model is 1 to 144. You might want to be really careful when you're using that. If you don't have confidence holding it while using the blade, you can always lie down on like cutting board or somewhere. But one trick is you push for the moment you push forward, you will try to stop it right away, so that way you won't go over it, and always like picking up rather than going down. Otherwise you will just cut deeper and your blade will sink into the piece. Okay, so after you do that, you might want to just gently cut over the surface and place it vertically against the piece and go back and forth like this. This motion is just like sanding, but you need to be pretty gentle to it. And now you can barely see the injection point because you use the mold and do the plastic casting. And there's also a parting line you can see here, because this probably will be a two-piece mold, and in between you might also want to get rid of it. Well, you never know if it will show or not, so you better, it's easy to, for now, for you to go into all the details, because you pick up the model piece by piece. And if they are glued or assembled, it's a little bit harder for you to get into all these details. So you might want to take the piece up and check it back and forth and see if there's any parting lines, or like this one, the one injection point you miss. And because we are going to use the glue, but not right now, because we need to see the whole picture first. The very first step is to break all the joint, and we need to see later on, and so that we can tear it apart more easily. Just like think of playing Lego. If you press two pieces pretty hard against each other, you will be more likely hard to tear them apart if you want to. That's the same idea here. And since we would like to glue them and leave no gap in between pieces, intentionally, or yeah, if there are gap in between, we will like to color them or so, but mostly we will want to avoid that. We use the models cement to close off the gap, and I'll demonstrate that later. So this is the very first piece, and the concept of breaking. Let's see, if like 18 and 19 are together. Let me just do the quick demo for you. How to make them break much more easily. Right? This is a relatively small piece, so it can be break pretty easy. But what I will recommend you to do is, you see, these 4 points connect the two pieces. So, in order to make them break more easy, what I would do is like breaking this part. Just cut the little bit off, like a V shape, so that it will be much easier for you to come back and tear these pieces apart before putting glue on top of it. But you don't want to get the whole thing off, because we still need it to give the position, just like register it to the right position. So we just break partially, but it will still tell you the right position when we can bend them. Okay. So now I'm pretty confident that these two will come off like this very easily. And let me just do the fast forward for you, so you don't have to wait until an hour later to see the outcome. So now my upper torso is done. You can see by the way I'm assembling, it's just temporary, but it got a pretty nice hole. And some parts, if you see, it can be break up easily. You don't have to break the joint. Like this one got a pretty shallow one, so you can just leave it alone. And remember, since we are trying to color each part differently, so making sure the colors are separated is a good way. Like this one, remember, is a little bit harder, but since we forked the joint, it's easy to take it off. See? And these two, we might have to glue them together. So, and some parts you can even alter it, like this part. We know this is gonna be tough for us to go in, since this part will be well, actually it's this part we don't need to even glue them together. See, there's so many different parts, and we may want to like separate them, color them, and just assemble them. But the gap in between will be covered by their side armor. So it's good for you to do the the temporary assembling, so you can observe, just like doing art, you know, like observe what you're gonna do next, and decide the best way, and that can save you tons of works. And you don't have to, believe me, you don't want to take all the small minor detail by yourself, because it's just intimidating. So once you have done that, and you will understand what I'm gonna say. But yeah, you can see I'm back in business, and it's a toy after all. After you pre-assemble it, you can play around with it until you feel bored with it. So yeah, and you can see, yeah, moving back and forth, moving back and forth. Alright, let's start with the head parts. Alright, now I finished building the head, and I believe if you have done this before, you know all the components here are pretty small, so you might want to keep your workplace clean, and you better hold it very tightly when you try to use your knife, because you will cut yourself pretty easily. But as you may know, all the knives works better after they taste the blood. I'm just kidding. Don't hurt yourself too much by doing this. And by the way, the sandpaper usage is like you just gently wraps around your finger, or just like hold it loosely and just go over back and forth. And you don't want to press it too hard, otherwise you will like eat up all your components. These parts are pretty soft because they're plastic after all. Plastic. No, plastic, yeah. Just like the back of it. And I didn't break much key or the joint in this because they're pretty small and they can be tear apart pretty easily. So yeah, as long as they comes off, and you won't have to worry too much about it. Okay, the next step will be arm, but when every parts come in pairs, what I would recommend is doing the same part on both sides at the same time, because they're pretty much the same except the direction of it. So if you do it one arm and do the other, and you spend your more time, you have to figure out where the injection point is, and you have to like smooth all the parting lines. But if you do both parts at the same time, you will save you tons of time doing that. Alright, so let's do start doing our right and left arm. Okay, now we finally finish both our arms, and we got 2 extra palms. It's nice. But one thing that's bothering me the most is the forearm part, because you see it's wrapped around, and it's hard to get inside if you want to paint it, but the outside, the gap need to be closed, and this part is stuck into the. So this will be a kind of pain in the ass, I guess, if I really want to use spray paint to it. Yeah, and by the way, the best way of coloring it will be using an airbrush. So you can imagine how difficult it will be going into all the details. And I probably will cut this tool off and glue this back in. I don't know, we'll see about that. And the whole structure is a little bit different from the especially for like arm part. You see, it's reminding me more of a 5-star story machine robots, and then the regular UC series like 0079 to the latest unicorn. But still, I guess it belongs to the Gundam family. And let's combine this moment of truth. Alright, yeah, that's our forearm. Oops. The upper part, and it's getting late, time is running out, so I'll leave the video subs here, and I'll see you next time and finish the rest of it. If you like this, please drop a like and leave a comment. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you.